To each candidate to join us and explain their plan, beginning with our next guest, Minnesota State Chair Ken Martin. It's a pleasure to have you here. So, look, Politico did something interesting. They laid out pros and cons for all of those of you who are possible contenders. They say you are the ultimate technician, process operative who knows all the players, but they argue you wouldn't instigate the kind of wholesale overhaul of the party's outlook that some insiders think the party needs. What's your reaction to that concern, and what change do you think the party does need?
Well, first, Chris, thank you so much for having me on today. I really appreciate it. And, look, I'm running for the DNC because too many in Washington actually want to win the argument. I actually want to win elections. And, I have a proven track record of doing that in Minnesota. I'm 25-0 on statewide elections. We've built arguably the strongest state party in the nation. And we've passed amazing legislation that's helping improve people's lives throughout our state. I believe we can scale this model up to the DNC. And look, I believe strongly I'm the only one with a plan out already on what we need to do in this moment, in this crisis moment for the DNC. We have an opportunity to reimagine the DNC and do things that we could do and should be doing as a national party to actually compete in every zip code. As I say, we need to get the DNC out of D.C., make it a national party again, make sure we're working with our 57 state parties across the country and within our territories to contest every race up and down the ballot so that we actually are competing in every public policy arena in this country. So my plan is pretty comprehensive. Again, I'm the only one with a plan right now on how we actually overhaul the DNC. And I'm looking forward to the contest to come over the next 2 months.
Look, to be fair, you have won Democratic election after election after election, but in context, Minnesota's deeply blue. I don't think that you've had your state vote for a Republican for president maybe since Richard Nixon. So you weren't up against the odds. Before Joe Biden dropped out of the race, the number of voters identifying as Democrats had shrunk to its lowest recorded level. Even after Kamala Harris boosted registration, your party was losing ground in key swing states. So coming from a blue state, do you understand what the party's doing wrong?
Well, I think you're partly right. While we haven't voted for a Republican in years for president, the reality is that in 2010 was the first time in 24 years we won a governorship, right? And the reality is Minnesota is much more of a purple state. They've elected Republicans to the U.S. Senate, of course. They've elected Republican governors. They've elected Republican legislative majorities. And so it's not fair to say that it's a deep blue state. In fact, it's one of the closest non-battleground states in the country in terms of the margin. And so, and what that required, of course, it's gotten a lot bluer under my time as chair. We haven't lost a statewide election, and that's because we built the type of infrastructure that helps us win up and down the ballot. And so, look, we have to do a better job for sure of making sure we're winning everywhere, from red states to purple states to blue states. All are important, all have critical races, and we need to be investing in all places where we're losing right now to gain back ground, to win elections so we can actually build power and improve people's lives.
One criticism of the party is that they took on issues much more progressive than the general public, right? Today is a perfect example. The Supreme Court is hearing arguments or heard arguments on a key case on transgender rights. So here's the question. Should transgender access to health care, the ability to play on sports teams if you're trans, be for Democrats the kind of civil rights cause they have long supported, or will that alienate moderate voters the party needs?
Well, let me just say I reject the premise because at the end of the day, we're Democrats. We believe in fighting for the working class, for the poor, and for marginalized and oppressed people who are being pushed out of the conversation, bullied and harassed. That's the history of our party, and we will stand up for the trans community. At the same time, we will center at the core of our messaging a working class agenda that reminds people throughout this country, no matter where they're from, no matter who they are, no matter who they love, or where they live, that our party is their champion and we're fighting for them. And so, I think, look, we can do both. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can live true to our values. You don't have to abandon our values as a Democratic Party while also centering the needs and the struggles of everyday working Americans.
Ken Martin, a candidate to head the DNC, thank you so much for kicking us off as we look at this important race. Appreciate you coming on.